What's going on? It's your boy Tunnel Vision, and we are back. We are back. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the videos. It's time. At this point, I think it's time. It's time for the WBC to end the clean boxing program because it's a joke. It's an absolute complete joke. I mean, number one, they don't really, unless you're actually fighting, they don't really do out of competition testing like that. They rarely ever do that. So it's kind of like, what's the point when it comes to that anyway? And then we all remember what had happened in the Canelo situation, where Canelo had tested positive, not on one, but it was a two or three tests. He tested positive for clenbuterol. And they tried to say, oh, it's because of what he ate. That's bullshit. That's number one. Number two, even as a fighter, if you're from Mexico, you know that the meat's contaminated. So, why would you eat it anyway? Especially when your family actually deals with, the selling of meats, of beef in that country. So you know everything about it. I think what had caught him was the fact that he got tested when he didn't expect to get tested. He usually doesn't get tested in Mexico. Usually it's when he gets back to the United States and he starts training there. That's when they kind of do the testings. But so it's basically when he got tested, it was a surprise. It was an absolute surprise when they were hitting him with the tests they were hitting him with. And he failed all of them. He failed a couple of them. And according to some experts, in order for that to have been due to the consumption of beef, he would have had to have eaten an entire cow with that amount that he had in his system. But and regardless of how much you have in your system, I mean, it all depends on when exactly they catch you. If they're catching you at the end of that cycle, they're really going to catch anything. So it's not about, how much did they catch when you're within your system. You're not supposed to have in your system at all. If they catch you obviously in the beginning of your cycle, yeah, boom, it's going to be red lights. The amount's going to be ridiculously high. As hours go by, the amount they can catch with drops. And some people get caught right at the end of their cycle, right at the end. So of course it's going to be a tiny little bit that they're gonna see in your system. And off the bat, man, the WBC, without really knowing any information, without knowing what was going on, was all out back in Canelo. Oh, he's innocent. He didn't do anything wrong. Blah 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 blah. 100% behind him. 100% behind him, without knowing any information still at that time, without any information coming out. It was a complete farce, and then now, two fighters test also positive for clenbuterol. It was, I believe, a Ray Vargas, who was a champion, and also Martinez, who I believe is signed to either Golden Boy or Canelo, one of the two. He's signed to Golden Boy or he's signed to Canelo. And they both tested positive. So what what the WBC decided to do is like, oh damn, two more of our fighters, got tested positive again. So what they decided to do was to do absolutely nothing. That's number one, and then increase the amount of clenbuterol you can have in your system. Increase the amount of clenbuterol you can have in your system. So now basically all they've done is said, hey, if you get caught even earlier in your cycle now, you're good. There's going to be no punishments, no nothing. And I believe Martinez, is actually going to be fighting on the Chavez Jr. versus, what's his name? Danny Jacobs card, which is also another thing. Ridiculous. But yeah, so at this point, why have it? Why have the clean boxing program? You've basically given, fighters, especially those from Mexico, the green light to use clenbuterol. You've given all the fighters actually a green light to use clenbuterol before their fights. Whether it be microdosing or just now you're better off because now if they catch you later on in your cycle, you're good. You have a larger room for error. And that's what it is. So if that's what we're gonna do, what's the point of having the clean boxing program? What's the point of having it? If all this, when it comes to this and this drug use we're not gonna look at it like it's any kind of big thing. We're gonna brush it off when it comes to certain fighters. When it comes to certain situations, we're gonna brush it off. Other fighters or other situations, we're gonna go hard on them, or we're gonna suspend them. But when it comes to these over here, nah, not even a hey, well, we're gonna strip you of your title. and you're gonna have to go fight two, or at least one or two fights, and show that you're clean, and then we'll let you can go fight for your title again, or you're in line for being for for a title shot. So we're gonna shut that down, or we're gonna suspend you for 6 months. Nothing. Just hey, it's from meats. We're just gonna say automatically it's from meat. It's from beef from Mexico. That's what it's from. That's it. You're good. Don't even worry about it. What? It's a shame. It's a travesty, especially with all the deaths that's been happening in this sport. What happens to fighters, the brain damage that they get, the punishment that can be put onto someone, the years of their life that they can lose, years of their career that they can use, and this farce of really caring about these fighters, and this farce of caring about their safety and what happens to them is bullish. It's complete bullish. So, hey, everything else about the WBC at this point is a farce too. We're giving people ducking belts, aka the franchise belt. Oh, you don't want to fight that fighter and he's your mandatory, and we have to strip you, unless you fight him according to our rules. Hey, we'll just give you this belt. With this belt, you can move up and down in weight classes. You can fight somebody that beat you. Don't worry about it. You still keep your belt. Don't worry about it. Like, really? Really? It's a shame. It's a shame. The WBC is becoming an absolute farce. They're losing any kind of respect or any kind of integrity that they have. When it comes to the drug program, it's a joke. And they're getting to the point now where their belts are becoming a joke. They've literally put themselves into a space right now where you could say that having a WBC belt don't mean ish. They're getting to that point. They're absolutely getting to that point. But that's another story. As far as the drug testing is concerned, though, time to end it, man. Time to end it. Kind of like the Statue of Liberty we have here in the States. And you see the words on it. Give us your sick, give us your poor, etc., etc. It's all bullshit. You know what I mean? So it's time to tear that motherfucker down, because it doesn't mean nothing. Just like that drug program the WBC has. Like, subscribe, share. I'm out.